So, you know, a lot of things have gone digital in our lifetimes.
Hmm.
Like when we were kids, listen to cassette tapes, went digital. We used to watch film shot on film that went digital.
Video.
But no one's figured out how to make food really go. Like we have Yelp, we do digital recommendations,
Hmm.
but you still, if you want to eat food, have to like go like hack up a cow with a knife and like stick it in your mouth. And we
Hmm.
haven't digitized food,
Hmm.
and it's probably there's 7 billion people on the planet, and all of them eat. And so I think if we really want to think about the biggest thing, like Facebook can only that's like the biggest thing right now, and it can only reach 1.6 billion people. But food reaches everybody, and whoever digitizes food is gonna own the world.
Hmm. And it's definitely an industry that's ripe for innovation. Uh, you know, traditionally the
It's
business has been occupied by a few conglomerates who've owned the market, who've streamlined the process, and have taken an active role in crushing incumbents trying to digitize food.
they're operating on 14th century business practices.
I mean, we're still in a scenario where we need, you have an industry that's inefficient, like food production, and it causes a bunch of different inefficient industries to also evolve as a result of it. So, for instance, you have silverware, which is inefficient, and washing machines, also inefficient, and washing sinks. Also, none of this would be necessary if food was no longer required. If food was no longer required, no silverware would be required. And
No flatware, yeah, nothing. IKEA's out of business.
so IKEA would still
Bedding,
they would do well in bedding. I still think
the whole
their
bottom,
market
the
lead is
whole
there.
basement floor would be completely gone.
But it would still be a substantial hit to the business model of IKEA. So IKEA also has ingrained interests not to allow digitized food.
Yeah,
And when you think about it, like
Big Food is trying to keep out digital.
it's rigged. It's rigged. Big food is stifling innovation for all the smaller players trying to digitize it. So one startup called Mason America has actually proposed a new internet protocol called eFood that is more easily exchangeable, does not expire. Uh,
Yeah, I heard they're using the same blockchain technology that underlies Bitcoin
it
for food to food
transmission
transmission. Yeah,
and they've also in fact hacked the Bitcoin protocol and improved it drastically. When you think of the Bitcoin protocol, at most what it does is transfer some units of Bitcoin. But what Mason America have done is that when this transfer happens, they can also change the properties to match the tastes of the user that owns
well,
it.
that's the weakness of Bitcoin, right? Like think about Bitcoin, right? How many ASICs, how many GPUs are burning? How many calories of energy are spent to keep all the Bitcoin miners going? And what happens with all that energy? They crack a few prime numbers. They send some information. But you could feed the world on the energy that's coming out of the blockchain technology. And that's I think what Mason America has kind of realized and tapped into is that this is a vast source of potential energy that needs to be consumed.
With, with such an immense responsibility to the world, it almost seems like uh, it's your duty to commit to see this sort of project till the end. There, food has been a medium that what we've used since the birth of humankind, and in essence, no improvements have been done on it ever since. In fact, uh, current modern farming techniques have reduced the quality. And in fact, organic food is now considered to be a premium food, when in the past it was simply called food.
Yeah,
So,
it's ridiculous, right? Everyone, you have to be rich to eat the way a peasant would eat
like,
400 years ago. The whole
yeah,
thing is backwards.
you could just go
And,
outside
and this is what
and
happened with the
get a
taxi
cow.
industry before Uber,
Hmm.
and this is what Marriott did to hotels before Airbnb.
Hmm.
Totally disrupted the entire market, and now it's Monsanto and the genetic. They say they're disrupting the food, but this is like hybrid automobiles. Like that's not disruption. Tesla is disruption.
Hmm.
Just go electric. The big agriculture right now, they want you to think that the next thing is more analog food with a little bit of technology, but they're
Hmm.
trying to. It's a distraction because the next step is pure energy.
And uh,
And this is a recurring theme, right? In all of the great futurists see this coming. Um, Asimov wrote about it. Roddenberry wrote about it. There's always an episode. There's always a novel in which people become pure energy, and that's how. I mean, we're gonna merge with computers in Singularity. When was the last time you saw a computer eat food?
Futurama was the last time I did. And uh, and but again, that was the only instance of it. And I think for some reason this kind of advance was never replicated, because the current players in the market have an incentive for it not to happen again.